This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight in the South today, Dunedin poet, writer, reviewer David Eggleton has been appointed as the latest New Zealand Poet Laureate. Chef Greg Piner has been a very busy man the last few days, preparing for around 150 guests at a special event in Dunedin tonight. And the Otago Art Society's premier art awards are currently on display at the Society's rooms in the railway station. Good evening, I'm Anastasia Manza. Dunedin poet, writer, reviewer and former Burns Fellow David Eggleton has been appointed as the latest New Zealand Poet Laureate. He says the honour is something he never dreamed of as an outsider, a performance poet who is almost considered outside of traditional poetry circles.
Baldwin Street may not be the world's steepest, but it's got something that Welsh Lane hasn't. David Eggleton.
Among things to do in Dunedin when you're dead, get your hearse to reverse up the steep, very steep, steepest street in the world.
At 67 years old, David Eggleton believes he may finally be part of the establishment and has been named New Zealand Poet Laureate on National Poetry Day.
For me it feels like a great honour, and it's certainly something that makes me very humbled really, and proud, and excited to have the chance to represent the poetry community nationally and even internationally.
But he's not always been a traditional mainstream poet, accepted in more conventional circles, as this clip from his poem Teleprompter demonstrates.
Figures, fling her, fantastic, flamingo feathers, playing electronic roulette and wearing identity bracelets.
He now has a 2-year tour of duty as the nation's Poet Laureate and is looking forward to sharing the joy of poetry with many people.
And help people in New Zealand share poems around in public places, and just make poetry a more vital and relevant aspect of people's lives and culture.
Standing on Dunedin's iconic Baldwin Street, Eggleton says he plans to remain in the town known for its literary history, from James K. Baxter to Honeftu Whare, Janet Frame and a host of others.
I've been living in Dunedin now since last century, so quite a while, and so I will be continuing to stay here. It's a great town to live in, and it's got, of course, it's the UNESCO City of Literature, so it's got a very strong connection to writing.
Eggleton is a former editor of the literary journal Landfall, has published 8 books of poetry and won many awards, including Reviewer of the Year award 6 times at the New Zealand Book Awards. The Poet Laureate receives $100,000 over the 2-year term. In Dunedin, the South today.
A controversial proposal for a floating hotel on Oamaru Harbour has been scuppered. Last year, the community-owned Oamaru Licensing Trust unveiled a proposal for Oamaru's harbour, which included the addition of a multi-million-dollar floating luxury hotel. The Licensing Trust had earlier been approached by a developer who planned to moor a 3-level 25-room hotel near the waterfront. Christchurch architects helped to design the concept plans for the hotel. However, the Licensing Trust says the developer will no longer back the project. The proposed hotel had always been controversial, with some applauding the Trust's vision and others criticising the impact on the harbour. Dunedin chef Greg Piner has been a very busy man the last few days, supervising a menu for around 150 guests at a special event tonight. However, Vault 21 chef enjoys the challenge and says the city's dining experiences are constantly on the improve.
Preparing meals for hungry diners. Greg Piner, the group executive chef for 3 different Dunedin restaurants, is flat out for another special event. Tonight's occasion will involve serving up gourmet cuisine for around 150 diners at this year's Otago Chamber of Commerce Export Awards.
We've got an extensive canapé menu, so some beautiful Ora King, basically salmon en croûte, some Silverfern Farms like beef cheek pies, and some amazing desserts. We've got a French pastry chef who's designed all the desserts for the event. We're doing some handmade sliders, so I'm super pumped about Friday night.
Piner says it's a win-win to get his restaurant's food supplies locally if possible.
And just supporting local businesses as well, because if we support them, they support us, so it's perfect fit.
He recognises his role as executive chef of 3 different establishments can be challenging.
So I'm lucky enough to surround myself with some really talented young chefs, and these people make my job easier. So they know the value of the product, and there's sort of no room for error.
And he says there's always friendly rivalry within the hospitality business, and he's confident the city's eating experiences will continue to grow.
For me personally, I think Dunedin's got a lot to offer. We haven't really tapped it out yet as such, and there's a lot more to come, trust me. It's an amazing place.
Piner's 3 restaurants are just a few among 50 bars, cafes and restaurants within Dunedin's town centre, bounded by Moray Place. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Negotiations between the Rail and Maritime Transport Union, the Maritime Union of New Zealand and Port Otago Management have stalled. Unions have issued notice of an overtime ban beginning September 7th. Union spokesperson John Kerr says today's discussions with Port Otago Management didn't result in meaningful progress, so they've issued an overtime ban. Port Otago Operations General Manager Kevin Kearney says the company is continuing to negotiate towards a successful outcome. He says safety is a key focus for them and the port plans to continue working towards a satisfactory outcome for all parties. John Kerr says fatigue is a critical risk on the waterfront which has to be addressed. Artworks featured in the Otago Art Society's Premier Art Awards are currently on display at the Society's rooms at the Dunedin railway station. The group says the first award for first prize attracts entrants from around the South Island.
Pictures painting thousands of words. With a $3,000 first prize up for grabs, the Otago Art Society's 2019 Edinburgh Realty Premier Art Awards attracts entries from far and wide. Dunedin artist and society member Anne Baldock says this year's exhibition is just one of many held throughout the year.
Well, you can exhibit just about all year round here. We have probably 12 exhibitions a year that we put works into, but we also have a little shop at the front, and you can also put your works in there, so there's always something on display for the public.
She says the Society has recently opened up the membership criteria with all welcome.
We used to have an application process to become an artist member, but we've got rid of that because who's a decider of what's good art? And so I think anyone can join up and try their hand at art, enter exhibitions, and it's on display for the public to see and enjoy or maybe purchase.
Society volunteer Ness Kerr doesn't call herself an artist, but loves her role with the organisation.
No, I'm not an artist, but I love and appreciate art, and I feel it's a real privilege and very inspirational being surrounded by artists and their work. So yeah, I feel I've got a really lucky role here at the Art Society.
Baldock says she returned to painting after having a family and says her son still features in her work even though he's left home.
Okay, so this work's called Flatties Need Their DIY Dads, and the inspiration came from my experience with my son at university who wanted to go flatting the first year, and he often came home with stories about how there was another hole in the floor or the ceiling after a party.
Bruce Hunt judged this year's competition with the $3,000 first prize going to Murdad Tahan for Seize the Day. The exhibition is up until early September. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, we give more information on the $60,000 pay rise awarded to Dunedin City Council Chief Executive Sue Bidrose and an OAR FM interview with mayoral candidate Jim OMalley.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy one pair, save $25. Buy two, save $60, and we've got a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Welcome back. A $60,000 pay rise has been awarded to Dunedin City Council Chief Executive Sue Bidrose, despite her best efforts to turn it down. The hike was revealed yesterday and takes Dr. Bidrose's remuneration from $387,000 to $444,000, an increase of $57,000 or 14.7%. It nearly puts her in the same league as University of Otago Vice-Chancellor Harleen Hayne, whose remuneration late last year was reported to be around $620,000. Southern District Health Board Chief Executive Chris Fleming is also in the same league, receiving around $530,000 last year. With Dunedin's Mayor Dave Cole stepping down after serving the city for 3 terms, 14 hopefuls are vying to be elected for the role. In tonight's bulletin, OFM host Ian Talfer interviews candidate Jim OMalley as to why he wants to be the mayor and wear the chains of office.
A city councillor who has made his name as a chocolate factory boss, Jim OMalley. Kia ora, Jim.
Kia ora, Ian.
Jim, you did make your name with this chocolate factory campaign, but I saw in the paper it wasn't going so well. What's going on?
Oh, it's really just going through the phases that can happen when you try to up your production from basically what we were about 90 kilos a week to about 700 kilos a week now. So it was a matter of getting everything up and going. We are actually through that phase now, so we'll be having the AGM at the end of September, and I'll be telling the shareholders sort of the journey of where we've got to.
Is it just sort of birthing pangs, or is it something?
It was in the model. The reality of it was that we took longer to get into our building. We were originally going in on the waterfront, and then we didn't get in there. Actually, it was a consequence of the waterfront development, ironically. So we ended up getting in about 5 months later than we wanted to, so we ended up carrying that burn that you have for 5 months longer than we expected.
Okay, so you are in there now, everything's moving, but you've got a big factory you have to fill.
Exactly, and so we're now I went in there basically the last couple of months. I've gone in there as the acting general manager, and also to control the amount of money we're spending. I'm going in there not getting paid at the moment, and we're just rebuilding the team now, so we just hired our sales manager the other day.
Okay. Okay, so when that happened though, a lot of people saw your big idea of taking over from Cadbury and the contract and everything and thought, this is the guy that, is going to be mayor next. That's what a lot of people said on the street. Has it been a bit rockier than you expected?
Oh no, I think you have to understand that with $2 million, you don't get to replace a $60 million factory. So reality, I think the best analogy is like a tree falling over in the forest. When a great canopy tree falls over, you can't put another canopy tree in its place. You got to put the seed in the ground, and the seed has to grow, and that's effectively what we're doing. So we are. This phase now is making the company stable, which is just about through, and then it'll go into its growth phase. And I'd say judge the success of this in 10 years and 15 years' time.
We have to wait that long, do we?
Well, I'm sure that when Mr. Hudson started, he didn't have 300 employees on his first day.
True. What do you think the big issues are right now facing Dunedin and facing the next mayor?
I think it's more opportunities as much as issues, and that is that Dunedin has been static and quite stagnant for many years, and now we're in a medium growth rate of growth as a city. That's going to bring challenges, especially around, I sit on the Regional Transport Committee and I see where our transport's going. We're going to have wicked trouble if we don't improve public transport in the future. So we've got whole things around livability where transport sits in.
And are they just growth things?
They're growth things in that regard. And then we have on the other side of that coin, with all those people coming in, we're already seeing a shortage of housing. And that's going to have two effects. One is the price of housing for those who can afford it. It's going to go up unless we get more housing out there. For those who are on the edge of affordability, homelessness will start to go up, and we're going to have to make sure that that doesn't happen either. And then on the back of all of this, obviously, is climate change.
What do you think the dynamic's been on the council? Does it need to change, Jim?
Well, I think it's about to change. Those of us who got on in the last triennium were actually saying that we were kept on the outer, and we were kept on the outer. I'd say that a lot of that negativity did not stem from us, and a few of us are on the receiving end of it. It's a classic council I'd like you to watch. I felt like I was taken down an alley and beaten up by some people. Carmen's completely right. Going into this next council, we have to behave in a more mature way.
And we'll bring you more interviews with the various candidates over the next 5 weeks. You can also watch the full hour, half-hour interview on odt.co.nz. After the break on the South Today, the future of a large Dunedin site used for many things remains a mystery. And we take a look at tomorrow's ODT and the weather.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We're having a massive menswear liquidation. Don't panic, it's not our liquidation, it's Munns Menswear. They suddenly closed 6 stores throughout the country. Munns have left their suppliers dangling and desperate to move large orders. We've come to the party. It's our biggest purchase yet. You can save up to 70%. Yes, save up to 70%. We've got strictly limited stocks at the best deals.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's a big one. South Dunedin store. Don't miss this.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chill.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Welcome back. Mystery surrounds the future of a large Dunedin site containing a design firm, flats and warehouses. The property at Anzac Avenue and Harris Street changed hands on Monday after its owner reached an agreement to sell it in June. The site includes the Miller Creative Building, which is leased until next year. It also contains a workshop leased to Otago Polytechnic, 3 student flats, a 4-bedroom house and a small warehouse. It was investigated by the Otago Regional Council for their new headquarters, but the ORC was unsuccessful in securing the site. Former owner Tony Johnson says a confidentiality agreement prevents him from giving any information about the new owners or their plans at this time. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Dunedin poet, writer, reviewer and former Burns Fellow David Eggleton has been appointed as the latest New Zealand Poet Laureate. Dunedin chef Greg Piner has been a very busy man the last few days, supervising a menu for around 150 guests at a special event tonight. And artworks featuring in the Otago Art Society's Premier Art Awards are currently on display at the Society rooms at the Dunedin railway station. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Craig.
Good evening. Yeah, we've got some interesting news on plans for a new hotel in Dunedin. Recent years there's been talk of a 5-star hotel in behind the town hall.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, developer Anthony Toswell, he sort of ran into a lot of public opposition and couldn't get resource consent as well. We've spoken to him again. He said he hasn't ruled out plans of still building a hotel in the city. However, there's more interest in that site from the DCC confirms as well. So there's potentially 2 or 3 people that are aiming to build some sort of hotel in Dunedin. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, something to keep an eye out. We've also got the latest on a hospital rebuild, including confirmation demolition of Cadbury's building is going to start early next year. So things will begin to happen. Sport, we catch up with motocross star Courtney Duncan. just 2 races away from being a world champion. She heads to Turkey next month, I think it is. 2 races, and as long as she can get out front and steer clear of trouble, she should be able to win it. Last 2 years she's bombed out through injury and falling off a bike, so she's keen to make amends this year.
Good, awesome.
And a weekend mix, plenty of reading in that as well for a Saturday. We've got a continue our sporting themes with a look at the movie about All Black great Dan Carter called A Perfect 10. That opens on Thursday, and some pretty good reviews so far on it.
Awesome.
That's us.
Cool, thanks Craig.
Thank you.
And now time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Map.
Beginning with today's southern view of flowers in the Octagon as life rushes by. Looking at the situation, a weekend of westerly airflow ahead with showers and rain at times in the west and on the south coast, but mostly fine if not a little windy further east. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect a cloud or 2 and 13 degrees. Across to the northeast where Nelson and Blenheim are due for a blue sky day and 16. Moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura, Christchurch and Ashburton, you're all in for a cloudy day and 12 degrees. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, fresh westerlies and cloud increasing across the region. Barclutha and the Catlins head for 11, while Lumsden and Gore are all slightly warmer on 12 degrees. Travelling westward to the Central Lakes, you should plan for moderate westerlies with cloud increasing. Wanaka and Queenstown, you can expect 12 degrees. Alexandria, you're the pick of the bunch on 14, and it'll rain later in Te Anau. Your top temperature should be 11. Looking at the northern towns along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru expect light winds, clear skies and 13 degrees. Further inland, Taizo and Omarama set for moderate westerlies, fine weather and 13 degrees for you both. In Dunedin, showers clearing tonight with an overnight low of 6. Fine tomorrow with sunny periods and some light cloud, a bit warmer than today. A high of 14 and a low of 5. Colder on Sunday, fine at first with some showers developing during the afternoon. A high of 10 and a low of 6. And finally, moving to Invercargill, becoming fine tonight with westerly winds with an overnight low of 7. Westerly winds becoming strong and gusty tomorrow, fine with cloud increasing and some rain developing at night. A high of 12 and a low of 8. Showers on Sunday with strong gusty cold west to southwest winds, a high of 10 and a low of 6. That's all for the South today for this Friday. For the latest news from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. And this will be my last night with Channel 39, so thanks for having me and have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.